Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. I would just like to say a very big thank you to all of the authors that I have worked with and all the ones that I will work with in the future. So thank you all, my brothers and sisters. And now let's just take a moment's silence for all the haters. That's enough. If you would like to support the channel and buy me a very much loved coffee, you can send your donations, big or small, to paypal.me/cryptidsroost. And why not hashtag cryptidsroost in your comments. As a new added bonus, be sure to check out the blooper reel at the end of the video. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. Sliver, parts 1 and 2. This awesome series is written by TopMindOfR3ddit, a wonderful author over on Reddit. If you would like to read more of their works, a link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. Part 1. I was never so naive to think that our hobby wasn't extremely dangerous. In fact, deep down, I had settled on the prospect of it killing me one day, but I would never have guessed that it would be like this. After being nearly irretrievably lost on the dusty, untravelled roads of Death Valley for hours, we finally came across signs of civilization. Some little unincorporated town. Not our destination, but it's a place with a name, somewhere we can point at the atlas to get our bearings. It was my fault for making Jim the navigator anyway. It's not that he's bad with directions, it's that he's bad at relaying the information to me, the driver. He'll read ahead on the atlas to himself and then just watch out the window as you pass turn off after turn off. Short attention. No, doing what we do, you need to have a good sense of direction. When you found yourself in a spaghetti bowl of tunnels 900 feet below the earth, you can't afford not to. We first started exploring abandoned mines when we were kids. Jim's folks owned property that had one on it. It wasn't a big one, it only went in about 40 feet and collapsed beyond that. Nonetheless, we'd spent all day in that hole. Since then, we've explored about 17 other mines for nothing other than the thrill and the history. I'm going to stop at this station and get something to drink and stretch my legs a bit before we head to the mine, I said. As soon as we got out, Jim was already snapping pictures of his brand new 1996 Ford Bronco against the desert backdrop. He always had that Polaroid camera around his neck to document our travels. A bell on a chain jingled as I pushed the doors to the nameless gas station open. They didn't have many options as far as drinks went. I figured they probably only stocked what the few people that inhabited this place drink, since there's no way anyone from out of town was going to find this place, except for us. So I got a bottle of water. When I got back outside, Jim was staring at the window of the store with a stern but concerned look on his face, like he was trying to solve a riddle. "What's up?" I asked, turning to see what he was staring at. "Missing posters. Most of them kids, but some adults. 12 of them." "How the hell do you have this many missing people in a town of what, 800 people?" Jim said. "I don't know. And why do you think they need these posters? You'd think everybody in town would know about this." I stepped closer to the poster to read the details. Missing from Mahogany Flat Campground. Last seen, Wild Rose Campground. Abandoned RV found on Nevada State Road 160. They're from all over the area, not just this town. Mostly campers. That's crazy. There's so many. Serial killer, maybe? Maybe. I don't know. Campers get lost all the time. I shrugged. Let's get going. We need to find the mine while it's still light. Part 2. I started walking back to the Bronco as Jim lifted his Polaroid and snapped a picture of the window. Entranced, he looked up and down from the photo to the window for a few seconds more before pulling himself away from it. Pulling off on one unpaved road onto another more primitive one, we figured we were nearly there. Of course, we didn't get the property owner's permission to come poke around out here. People are too afraid of liability these days. It did pose a risk of wasting time, however. We wouldn't know until we arrived if the mine had been sealed off, collapsed, or if it even existed in the first place. We only learnt about these things from rumours, researching old mining businesses, etc. This one was a silver mine that we had found pictures of in a friend's great-great-grandfather's personal effects. The guy's living relative told us where we might be able to find it. Within several miles of desert. That's it. It wasn't long before we saw the headframe standing like a skeleton on the hill. Headframes are used on a specific type of mine, a vertical shaft. That means it's dropped straight down, sometimes 100 feet, sometimes 500 feet. This one is 900 feet, according to the old man's journal. We had discussed the possibility of there being a back adit, another entrance, at the bottom on the side of the mountain, but they were always a pain in the ass to find, and usually collapsed when you found them. Here we already had a beacon showing us right where to go. We parked the Bronco behind the barely standing hoist building so it wouldn't be seen from the road at the base of the mountain, and began unloading our gear. Quite the amateur loadout really. Some climbing rope, flashlights, headlamps and helmets. A Polaroid. Aha! Check it out! It's a Sliver mine, Jim said as he pointed to the hoist building's door. The word Sliver was scratched into it. Too bad they weren't mining Glod, or else they may have been able to afford an education. We wasted almost no time. We were stocked up and headed down the cramped manway, a series of ladders and narrow platforms that followed the shaft all the way to the bottom. We climbed for what seemed like an eternity, passing all kinds of dead animals that had fallen into the shaft. Stepping off into the first level, we figured we were probably about 500 feet deep. Jim looked over the edge of the cage shaft to see how much further. He couldn't see the bottom. I hated when he leaned over shit like that. We weren't even on solid ground yet. We were still on the 100-plus-year-old wood platform. We looked around for a bit on the first level. Sedimentary lines streaked across the walls, pot marked with pickaxe strikes. The ceiling is just high enough that you don't hit your head on the visibly strained supporting beams. It's easy to forget there's hundreds of thousands of tons of rock and earth bearing down on these old beams at all times. A bent or broken beam is always a chilling reminder. Old crates that probably contained dynamite at one time, an old bottle and a pack of cigarettes that hadn't been sold in 30 years. Some spray paint on the wall said, "Nick, 78. Let's keep going down, I said. Further and further down we went. The wood that made up the manway was more sturdy the further down, due to the elements not being able to reach it. But that's not to say it was safe. This whole thing could come down at any second for no other reason than we spoke too loud, or one of us sneezed or something. damn near anything could cause a collapse. We went past another level, but we decided to just press on. Down, down, down another level. We found a newspaper sitting on a crate. They'd said 1934. The mine could still have been active then, but it was a good sign to find things less disturbed the further down we went. And another level, and the ladder is gone. "Look, there's still more down there," Jim said in a harsh whisper. "Way more than 900 feet. "Maybe we can find a chute and squeeze through it," I suggested. This was not only risky, but also terrifying. Chutes were often barely just big enough for a single person, and there isn't always a way to tell if the bottom of the chute is clear or if the miners just left a bunch of shit in it. Plus, we didn't even know if we'd find a chute. There would only be one if there was a back adit to this place. We got off on that level and looked around. Minecarts, pickaxes, crates that still had dynamite. This place looks like it hasn't been touched since they closed it down. It didn't take long before we found chutes that led into the darkness below. "I'll go grab a crate to give us a leg up," I said. "Stay away from that one, that still has dynamite. You know that old shit'll go up if you just look at it wrong." "Bitch, I'm the one who told you that." Jim laughed as I went in search of a crate. When I got back, he was holding something. A necklace, like costume jewellery. "What the fuck is that?" I asked. "I found it hung up in one of the chutes," he said, holding it up to his headlamp. "It looks like something a child would wear." He looked closer at it and then his eyes got wide. He took his backpack off and started rummaging around for something. He pulled out a Polaroid picture and studied it, then dropped his arms. "What?" I asked, growing impatient. "One of those kids from the missing poster," he said as he held up the photo to my face. "That girl there. She's fucking wearing this necklace." And I hope you all enjoyed the following Blooper Reel. Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. After being nearly irretrievably lost on the dusty, untravelled roads of Death Valley for hours, it's not that he's bad with directions. He'll read ahead on the atlas to himself and then just watch out the windows as you pass. Turn off after turn off. They didn't have many options as far as drinks went. You'd think everybody in town would know about this. Of course, we didn't get the property owner's permission to come poke around out here. We wasted almost no time. We were stopped up and headed down the cramped manway. The wood that made up the manway was more sturdy the further down. Due to the elements not being able to reach it. There would only be one if there was a back adit to this place.